Yeah, it is surprising to me that not only do we have issues with the drilling, but they've put a stripping plant in to strip the gas so they can sell it to national.
Can you explain for the folks who I hope will be listening to this what the whole stripping plant does?
From what my understanding of it is the gas that comes out of the ground in our area is called a really wet gas. It has a lot of extra things in there that need to be removed before it can become a dry gas, which would be marketed.
Is that the stuff Dave let me smell up in his garage? The extra stuff?
That would be some of it. That would be what they call the head gas.
Mm-hmm. So what they do is they pull this in, and through quite the process, they'll strip this stuff down, take all these, separate the product, and actually sell that as a byproduct, put it in storage tanks, right in your backyard also. Mm-hmm. Then what they'll do is they have a compressor station that'll actually compress the gas and put it right into the pipeline and sell it. Mm-hmm. And that all happens.
You have this, what do you call it, stripper station, and there's a compressor station.
Yeah.
That's part of the
It's all part of one.
It has a compressor, a generator. It's very loud.
Yeah, it's shut down right now.
Right.
Due to the court shutting down because of zoning. But what they'll do is they'll do all this processing right on site. And the zoning laws in our area have proven that you can't have that in the R4 district or the Forest Slope district. So.
And had these guys gone through the proper channels, you're supposed to get permits, things like that. They just didn't do that.
Well, they probably,
get it all in there before anyone notices, and hopefully no one will say anything.
That seems to be the way that the whole hydrofracking phenomenon NPA is happening right now. Is do it as fast as you can, as quickly as you can, as cheap as you can, get in and get out. Because I feel like they know something's coming. I hope.
Well, if nobody questions them, then they were good.
Right, but I feel like they know it's eventually got to come.
Yeah.
The questions have to come. They're not going to win every lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're going to, I hope.
Well, intimidation is part of that too. I mean, even people on our street, not all of them are going to meetings or speaking up, and I think a lot of it is you're just afraid to. You don't want to cause trouble. You don't want to have everyone mad at you.
I mean, it is a pretty tight-knit community, it seems like. I mean, I imagine most of the people on the little road that goes up and down.
I didn't before this.
Yeah.
Really? You do now?
Yeah, actually, it's really, and that's one thing.
Nice?
That's a good part. It's the silver lining.
I'll tell you what, I've been really impressed by the small little community we have, because all the neighbors have come together due to Yvonne putting this all together, and then just saying, let's stick together. And people have stuck, and we're continuing to stay together.
Now, I find similar stories up and down the street, right? Here on Hedgehog Lane.
Mm-hmm.
Similar water tests, and
Yep.
Are most people getting new wells, or are most people getting the shaft like you are, Yvonne?
Most people have gotten, not new wells necessarily, but at least treatment systems.
Yeah,
there are only a few of us, which actually are all in a line. It's my house and then the two houses next to me on either side. The three of us, nothing's wrong. But we all have the same smell in our water. I mean, it's pretty obvious.
There was 9 homes affected. I think it was 9 homes that were determined. There's still other homes that are just having issues, but
and then
they don't have a
some
determination.
that don't even call.
Oh, yeah,
I'm thinking of a couple on the
Yeah.
street. They do have water issues, but they're not calling DEP. They're not saying anything. They're just, for whatever reason, they're okay with it, I guess.
Getting back to the stripper plant real quick, sorry, they actually purchased a piece of land, a piece of property like you could set your house on, and threw all this equipment right on there before anybody could do anything, before they contacted our township about zoning, before they even applied for their general permit from DEP for air quality. They did nothing, and they just got it all operational. It was in operation for months and months before we even questioned it.
Yeah.
And we were having a lot of issues.
Matt heard about the propane tank, and he called Alio.
But we were having,
and he asked.
We were having carbon monoxide readings in our house that we've never had before. We have gas alarms going off in the house now that nobody can explain. Mm-hmm. Smells, all kinds of stuff associated with this. And we're you see all the trees around us. It should smell like trees and nice fresh air, and it does not anymore. Right. Now my biggest question is, there's 3 owners that bought that It's New Century Pipeline that purchased that property and put all this equipment on there. 2 of them are drillers, and one's a local lawyer. The drillers each have claiming 25 years of experience, and the lawyer has 35 years of experience in being a lawyer. And none of these people know the laws that apply to them.
Oh, Steve, you give them so much credit.
I don't understand
They do
that.
know. That's how they got to do it like this.
Well, I know they know, but I can't understand
exactly
how
how
they
to
can
get
try to just really just go up and beyond and just not even total disregard for this whole neighborhood and community. Now let me make sure everybody knows this whole community went to the driller, went to these people first thing and said, you know what, we're having a lot of problems here. We need you to run the city water, and you need to figure out what's going on the hill with your stripping plant, whether you need to get the smells under control, put a building up around it, get the sounds, work with us.
Yeah.
We went to them. They totally disregarded us in the beginning by not doing anything.
Yep.
But we
And
as a
not only
community,
not doing anything, but saying they would. They had
Oh,
this
yeah.
sound fence they
Yeah,
were
they
going
said
to
they
put
had a bunch
up.
of
I
stuff.
mean, there's
Lies,
a lot
lies,
of lies.
yeah.
But none of it ever happened.
But we went to them as a community and a township and said, you know what, work with us. We want, we're not saying to leave, we're not saying anything. Work with us, let's get this figured out so everybody's happy. And you know what, they chose not to.
Yep.
I think they think they're a little bit bigger than their britches. They feel that they're just way beyond the laws that apply, and they think they're just a little bit better than everybody else. And it's frustrating that we tried to work with these people, and they just refused. They
Yeah.
lied and everything else. So, bottom line, game on. So if you want to challenge us, then, we'll see where you wind up.
Mhm.
And, and again, it's going to be, it's been years in the battle here, trying to get them to shut down and trying to move it and trying to do whatever, even trying to just get our water fixed, get our lives back. But
Or even
you
just
know.
trying to sleep at night, just like
Right.
daily things are, it's awful actually.
yeah, it's
I
hard
keep
to
hearing
see.
that over and over.
It's
I mean,
really awful.
yeah, it costs
It ruins your
money
life.
out of people's house, money out of their pockets.
Mhm.
But mostly it's like the mental strain, I guess.
Oh,
Mental and the time that it costs you is ridiculous.
yeah, I can't even begin to tell you the time that I've devoted to this and the thought process and the efforts and the strain on my marriage alone that it's put. And, early on, I was going to meetings and stuff about the water. And at the time, I think my one son was 7 years old. He came to me and he says, "Thanks, Dad, for keeping me safe."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you know what? It brought a tear to my eye, and I put my daddy cap on. I'm like, you know what? I'm doing my job, and that's what I'm here for.
I guess it was
Now-
just frustrating, though.
Yeah, it's
Especially
frustrating.
when you
Especially
feel
when
like
you-
no one's
that's
on your
bad.
side, and like I've asked DEP multiple times, I'm dissatisfied with you. Who's next? Where do I go? Oh, nowhere. What do you mean nowhere?
EPA.
Nowhere. So
No,
I've
that's
gone
it.
to the EPA,
EPA,
and they
when
give
when
you
they
the
deem
same.
that the state's not doing their job, the EPA steps
I
in.
have written them repeatedly, and
Yeah,
they
they-
say the same loop-de-loop.
My
Right.
suggestion, and I could be completely wrong, just keep writing them.
I will.
Because,
Don't worry.
like I said, I'm not I'm not a lawyer or anything like that. But my understanding is that the EPA is supposed to step in when a state is deemed not doing their job.
I've emailed
In the state agency.
so many senators and our congressmen and Rendell, our governor, and every time they do the same thing. They send my letter about my frustration with DEP to DEP and say, please respond. So I get the same lies back from DEP that I initially got
It all goes
in their
back
response.
to DEP to come
So then
back
I write
to
the same
respond.
politician again and I say, okay, here's how this went. This time, could you please address this? Instead of just sending it on to DEP, the very people I'm complaining to you about. And you know what they do? They send it on to DEP and say, please respond. And then I get another letter from DEP with the same original lies. And it's just like this big circle where nobody is in your court.
Mhm.
And I think you just start to feel like it's hopeless.
Oh, it does go back to DEP, pretty much everything.
does,
We've
every
tried to
time.
branch out and find somebody that actually cares a little bit more than DEP, but they are the regulatory
Yep.
commission for all this.
Very frustrating.
But to get back real quick to my son, of course he's about 8 years old now. He came to me again, the same son that said, "Thanks for protecting me." He told my wife, he didn't tell me, that Daddy's changed. I'm not as fun anymore. You know what? That bothered me bad.
I bet. You can't put dollar signs or anything on that kind of loss.
I think you're fun, Steve.
It's frustrating.
Not bad.
I'll tell you what, I feel sorry for anybody that gets put in this place. It's just not fair. You know, the walls you run up against, and, you know. I'm not going to stop, though.
What do you think it's done to your home values?
Oh,
Oh,
would
they
you buy a house?
Downhill. Way
After
downhill.
hearing this, would you buy?
I mean, you know what? You've never had him
Appraised?
appraised
No.
that since this.
No.
Nobody
Not
on the
since.
street has.
What's
Or,
the point?
right. I mean, why pay
If I
that
could move tomorrow,
$350 or
as
whatever?
much as I love my neighbors, I
Yep.
would. I would move
And I think
tomorrow.
we all feel
I
that
keep
way.
getting
We
that
feel
story
way.
too.
But you can't. You
Right.
know, and like I was telling you, when we first bought our house, we spent way too much on it, and we knew that. It's
Mhm.
very much a fixer-upper. And we just figured over the next 10, 15 years, as we got a little money here and there,
Mhm.
we'd fix it up. But we loved the area.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh, it's gorgeous,
everything we
yeah.
loved is gone.
Mhm.
I mean, the trees are still pretty, don't get me wrong, but really why we moved here, the peace, it's gone. We'll never get what we put into that house. Never.
Like I've explained to people before that, you know, I'm not a big investor. You know, I'm a worker, a blue-collar worker, just like many people out there. And my home is my single biggest investment that I have. And to lose value in that, it's due to somebody else's negligence.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
greed.
just not, and greed.
It just didn't have to be this way. And it doesn't. They could fix it tomorrow. They could come up here tomorrow and they could say, you know what? We screwed up. We're going to run city water. We're going to, well, now this monstrosity, I don't know how the courts will go if they appeal it, but it looks like it might be gone.
What,
And
up, the pump up here on the hill?
Yeah, we'll see. The stripping plant.
Is that what you guys are crossing your finger for?
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It'll be
it doesn't
dismantled
belong
and-
there. It does
Right.
get.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
doesn't
you can
belong
still
there.
do this work. Just pipe it somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah,
You
it
know?
doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be right next to the well. It could be miles away.
I mean,
They
I
could take
can't-
this gas miles away and
That's right. It
process
doesn't
it.
have to be right here. So I can't speak for my whole neighborhood, but I know personally, if they came up tomorrow and said that to me, sorry, we screwed up. We realize that now. We're going to give you drinkable water. We're going to get this thing out of your hair. I'd be totally happy. I wouldn't even sue them. I'd be done. That's all I've ever wanted. Just restore me. Just restore my home. I'd wave to them at the grocery store. I'd send them birthday cards. Like, I wouldn't even hold a grudge. I just want it fixed.
So, these are local people that
Yes.
are working up on the hill that own what's up on
two
the
of
hill.
two of the three are local people. The one is from out of state.
So if I went down to a little diner in town somewhere and started asking about the natural gas and the oil and stuff, would they know what, just a regular citizen would know what I was talking about and probably have an opinion on it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, and they'll know the people too.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody around here. Everybody knows, and I know the lawyer. I work on his car. It's awkward because he actually still comes into where I work, and I just can't speak to him.
Yeah, you go out to dinner and you see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the glares, some of the people, not all of them. You should see the looks they give. I always just wave, but you should see. They're angry. They hate us. But it doesn't seem like they should. Just fix it.
Oh yeah. What would their feelings be if it was their backyard?
Yeah.